Hey everyone, thanks for joining our webinar. This is the first webinar we are going to be putting on, but we're going to be doing many more in the coming weeks and months and years. But this first webinar here is just going through the basics of SEO and how to use it for your law firm. So we'll just kind of give it one sec here, let everyone join on in, and then we will kind of move on to the next slide. All right, so to get started here, my name is Kyle Morris. I am the owner and CEO of Law Turbo. We are a digital marketing agency that specializes in helping attorneys. So from big to small, we can help you guys with SEO or any other digital marketing services. So as I mentioned before, this webinar today is going to be about the basics of law firm SEO. Many of you who are already doing SEO, you might already know some of this stuff, but it still is a good refresher, even if you already have the basics down. So the first slide here that we're going to go over is just what is SEO. So essentially SEO stands for search engine optimization. Essentially what this is showing up in the organic section of Google. These are non-paid ads. This is just when you make a regular old Google search and you appear towards the top. So the reason why this is important for you and the reason why everyone needs SEO, you might already be investing into pay-per-click ads like Google ads or Facebook ads, but SEO is important because you don't actually have to pay per click. Once you get up there and you start ranking, you don't have to pay for every click that you actually get on your listing. So that's what makes SEO super powerful. But we'll talk a little bit more in a second about other reasons. So as I mentioned before, one of the reasons is that you don't have to actually pay for those clicks, but some of the other more important reasons is going to be that this is how you're actually going to attract new clients to your law firm. So when people are searching for personal injury lawyer Los Angeles, if you show up towards the top, they are more likely to choose you and end up giving you their case. On top of it, even if they don't end up actually choosing you, you do have more credibility and perceived authority over the industry because you are showing up towards the top and more eyeballs are actually seeing you. So that does kind of lead into that third bullet point here, increased online visibility and reach. The more keywords that you're going to rank for organically and at the top, the more eyeballs you're typically going to get on your website and on your brand. So the next thing on here is going to be SEO basics of keyword research. So as we mentioned before, just kind of talking about the basics SEO, SEO as a whole is essentially you are going to try to show up at the top of that organic section without actually paying like Google Ads. So the way that you actually end up doing this is starting by doing some keyword research. So what I mean by this is people search in different ways and we need to find out how people are actually searching. So you might think that people are searching for personal injury lawyer in Chicago as the example I have on here, but maybe people are actually searching for personal injury attorney. Each of those are separate and different keywords, and that is why it is important for us to do keyword research. So when we are talking about doing keyword research, there are a variety of different tools that we can use. So the ones that are most popular is going to be SEMrush. I'll just kind of show that to you guys here real quick. So this is SEMrush. It has everything you need to do with SEO or keyword research. So this is a fantastic tool. I suggest using it. It is a little bit more expensive than some other tools, but it is well worth it. Some other ones would be Ahrefs. This is kind of their main competitor. They both do pretty much the exact same thing. They are kind of a all-in-one SEO tool, but they are fantastic for doing keyword research. The other tool I also recommend as well would be Ubersuggest. So this is kind of a cheaper option compared to the other two, but it still does about 90 to 95% of the things that those other tools both do. So really good option here. So just for this example here, and because I'm signed in to Ubersuggest right now, we are going to kind of just show you what I mean by keyword research. So in the tool, you can type in some sort of seed keyword. So what that essentially means is on this search in specific, I typed in personal injury lawyer. And when we scroll on down here, we can see lots of keyword ideas. So what this will do for us, what this helps us with, is finding out, one, how many people are searching per month. Two, it's also going to be showing the difficulty, and it's also going to be showing the different wording that people actually use when typing in Google. So just as an example, looking at my screen here, personal injury lawyer Los Angeles is getting just about 18,000 searches a month, which is awesome. Tons and tons of people are searching for that, but typically when more people are searching for it, the more difficult it will be to rank for that keyword as well. The next column here we are going to see is going to be cost per click. That's what the CPC stands for. So this is for Google Ads. So essentially, if you're running a traditional search ad on Google Ads, for every click that someone clicked on your search ad for the keyword personal injury lawyer, Los Angeles, California, it would charge you $67. So this goes again back to why I was saying that SEO is so important, because if you get up there organically without the ads, you're not paying for that $67 per click. Sure, you can do Google Ads and get up there essentially within the next week or so if you have a large budget, but organic is honestly the way to go in the long term. But again, PPC and Google Ads are still fantastic. They're a great short-term option, or to use in tandem with SEO. The other thing I do want to kind of note on this is going to be the SEO difficulty. So that is kind of the column I'm hovered over there. You see that little pop-up. It explains that SD stands for SEO difficulty. Every tool has a little bit different of a metric for this. So don't be confused if some of them say keyword difficulty or something along those lines. So what we're going to see here is that it gives it a 54 out of 100 on difficulty. So that is actually pretty hard to rank for considering all keywords across the web. So for example, the more specific, the less searched it is, typically the easier it will be for you to rank. So for example, to rank for personal injury lawyer in Huntington Beach will be much easier than ranking for personal injury lawyer in Los Angeles or even personal injury lawyer in New York. Just makes sense. More people are searching for it. There's more competition. And some of these bigger law firms who are investing more money will probably focus on these larger terms because they have more authority. So when doing the basic keyword research, essentially what I'm just trying to show you here is you do want to kind of have some sort of tool to allow you to figure out what keywords you want to target. Without some sort of tool, you're just going to be kind of shooting blank, essentially, shooting blindfolded. You might hit some, other ones you might not be close. So you might as well make your time and effort worth it and just invest in some sort of tool. Even if it's a couple $100, you can go in, kind of get an idea and figure out what keywords you want to aim for. What are the wordings people are actually searching for? All right, so that kind of covers the basics of the SEO keyword research. We can go more into this a little bit later on if needed, or we can have another webinar, or you guys can reach out to me after this and we can kind of go more in depth. But essentially the gist I wanted to go over today for just kind of the intro to SEO is just letting you know, you need to be using a tool like this to figure out what keywords to choose, what are those wordings that you want to actually go after and target with your website and with your SEO. So back on over to our presentation. The next thing we are going to talk about are the basics of on-page SEO. So essentially what on-page SEO is, so this is how your website is structured for SEO. So individual pages, titles, meta descriptions, headings, content, all these things are incorporated into on-page SEO. If you guys have ever hired any sort of agency, freelancer, SEO specialist on your team, they probably have already done some of this on your website. So just as a little example of what some on-page SEO might be, it might be, as we mentioned before, doing that keyword research with a tool like SEMrush, and then going over and creating specific pages for those keywords. So that's kind of a basic on-page SEO strategy. But other things that are included in this is making sure the titles of your page are correct. So you want to make sure that every page is targeting a specific keyword. You don't want to have multiple different keywords on the page. So for example, you don't want to have one page targeting personal injury lawyers Huntington Beach and personal injury lawyers Newport Beach on the exact same page. Instead, you want to have separate pages there. Each of those pages will have titles focused on each of those different keywords. And then for the meta descriptions, you guys probably have seen these online before, but essentially it's that little description when you search on Google that pops up right below your listing. It's usually just, a couple hundred characters or less than that. And it just entices people to click on your website. You want to make sure those are optimized as well. One of the most important things in terms of website optimizations is going to be the headings of your website. So just as an explanation of kind of what headings are, the best way to think about it, headings are kind of like the structure of a book or a novel. So the H1 heading, every page will have an H1 heading, and you're only supposed to have one H1 heading. This is like the overall title of the novel, and then it goes down into H2s, which would be kind of like chapters, and then H3s, which would be like subchapters, and on and on and on from there. So essentially what this is doing is it is helping Google figure out what the content on your site is actually about, and making sure everything is nice and organized. So one, Google knows what everything's about, and two, so users can kind of scan down your page and find the information that they're looking for. No one likes looking at one big block of text, so headings are really important to break up that. The other thing on-page SEO is going to be content. So this is extremely important. I can't stress this enough. You need to be putting out lots and lots of content on your website. I know that it is a lot of work. But if you're asking yourself what is considered content, this is creating new pages, this is creating a glossary, this is updating your about page, this is adding more blogs to your website. Essentially, it's adding more content to your site. So this is going to be key if you want to grow your overall website's traffic and overall SEO. You're going to need to keep expanding your SEO and your content. So what I would suggest, easiest way to do this is to build out location pages. So a different page for every single keyword in every single location. And on top of that, start building out blogs for frequently asked questions and things like that. So these are all great starting places. We'll most likely have another video at some other time going in depth about this, but those are some basics of on-page SEO. So we can go more into this a little bit later, but we'll move on to the next slide here. The next one will be off-page SEO. So as you know, we just talked about on-page, so that's everything on your website regarding SEO, while off-page is everything outside of your website. So what this primarily is going to be, it's going to be backlinks from other websites. So essentially what backlinks are, For those of you who are newer to SEO, it's essentially just a link from someone else's website back to you. So for example, let's say you did some sort of charity work as an example, and that charity had a blog on their page and they linked back to your website. That little link there would be counted as a backlink. So the reason why these backlinks are important is that they are kind of like a vote towards your website saying, I trust them, they have authority, they're important in the industry. So the more of these backlinks you have from relevant websites, the better, the higher your overall website's reputation and authority goes. So what I mean by reputation and authority, most tools like SEMrush, Moz, Ahrefs, Ubersuggest, they all have kind of their own metric, but it's called domain authority. This is essentially a number from 0 to 100, letting people know how much authority they think your website has. So the more authority your website has, the easier it will be to rank for SEO. So for example, a website like Morgan & Morgan will probably have, a domain authority of somewhere closer to maybe something like a 60. A Wikipedia will be up there in the 90s. YouTube's probably up there in the 90s as well. But, kind of smaller law firms or mid-sized law firms, you'll be anywhere from, 0 to maybe, let's say, 45 realistically. So the higher that authority you get, the better, easier it will be to rank. Honestly, what you'll notice, some of these sites that have really high authority, they can put out some pretty bad content, blogs that aren't even very accurate or well written, and they'll rank high because of that authority. So what we need to do is get more of those backlinks, make sure the website is optimized so that we can compete with these sites that have more authority and have bad content. So we can outrank them if we do things right, even though we have less authority. So one thing with backlinks and SEO, you kind of just as a rule of thumb, you typically aren't going to just go out and buy them. There's lots of Indian spammers. There's people on Fiverr that are selling them. The best backlinks are typically earned. So what I mean by this is you're building a relationship with another business, or you put out a piece of content that was really good, so other people linked back to that resource, or you did some sort of study that other people liked and started quoting in their articles. Things like that is how you're going to get better backlinks. Don't get me wrong, sometimes purchasing backlinks or doing a backlink trade can be beneficial, but most of the time, the best backlinks are going to be earned kind of backlinks. So this is a little trickier than the on-page stuff where you have 100% control. The off-page is a little bit more like doing PR and outreach. So the next thing on here is going to be technical SEO. So this is a little bit different. So what this is this is making sure the back end of the website, the sitemaps, the certificates, site speed, all that stuff is optimized. So this is different than someone who specializes in doing, on-page SEO, just kind of basic content, optimizing those headings as we spoke about, titles and things of that nature. But you still do need a technical SEO expert to come through your website, make sure Google can crawl it correctly, make sure you have SSL certificates set up, all this type of stuff. So these people are usually a little bit more technical, a little bit more on the coding side, but they are still important, and you still should have someone look at this from time to time, especially if you just got a new website from someone. You do kind of need someone to come through, do a clean sweep of the website, make sure everything's good, and kind of give you that thumbs up. Another facet of SEO is going to be local SEO. So this is kind of showing up in your local city, also on that map section. So there are a variety of factors in your local SEO. So we'll just go over kind of a couple basic ones. But the number one thing I always want to let everyone know, especially if you're a brand new law firm or you've never done any sort of advertising or SEO, the number one thing you can do to just get more leads right out of the gate is set up and claim your Google My Business listing. So the Google My Business listing is the section in the map where you'll see reviews. It'll say like attorney or lawyer, law firm. There's a bunch of different categories it can put you in, but make sure you claim your Google My Business listing and have it optimized. So what I mean by optimized, make sure you fill out everything in there correctly. And also, I do recommend speaking with an SEO expert to go through and double check your listing and make sure you are doing the best that you can with it. But for the most part, most of you, if you just fill out everything, add some great images into the image section on Google My Business, make sure your name, address, and phone number are consistent. All those are just kind of a great starting point for local SEO. So let me just move off this and just give you a little background of what I'm talking about if some of you are still a little confused. But this map section here, this is going to be the Google My Business. So let's click on this first one here. This is their Google My Business profile. As I mentioned, it is important to rank in. It's important for ranking locally. So you'll want to make sure that you have all your services filled out, you have reviews, and when it comes to reviews, make sure you reply to all of them. Don't give them the exact same review, kind of like what this person is doing. They're doing a fantastic job there. And then also upload photos. Everyone loves seeing what the office looks like, inside, outside, the team, all those types of things, certificates you might have earned, any awards, all those types of things are awesome to see. And what you will notice, ranking here organically is super powerful. So you'll see there are 2 ads above them, but they're going to be paying, as we mentioned earlier, they might be paying $50, $60, $70, maybe $100 for me to click on that ad versus this guy down here below, this Brent. They're not paying to be listed there. They're just ranking there organically. So that's why it's important to set up your Google My Business profile. We'll probably do a whole nother one in regards to Google My Business and local SEO, but that's the main thing you guys got to know when it comes to local SEO. Set up those Google My Business, make sure it's optimized, and the other couple things just to mention real quick that also are important. Set up location pages. So set up separate pages for all the different locations of your business or locations that you're trying to rank in. So if you're trying to rank in Santa Ana, California, create a page for personal injury lawyer, Santa Ana, California. If you want to rank in Irvine, do the exact same thing for Irvine and go down all the cities that you're trying to rank for and create unique pages. That's the main part of these when it comes to local SEO and creating these location pages. Make sure that content is unique. Okay, so you don't want to just copy and paste content. Make sure you create different content for each page that is relevant to each of those cities. All right, moving on. Implementing an SEO strategy. So there's a lot of ways to go about doing this. So many people, if you're pretty hands-on and technical, you can actually implement a lot of this stuff yourself, to be honest. It's going to take a lot of time to do, but you can optimize sites yourself. But honestly, you are better off just either hiring someone in-house or hiring an agency like us, honestly, someone who is an expert in doing these. So essentially, when implementing, what you'll want to do is you will start by doing some keyword research and then doing all of the on-page optimizations, setting up your local Google My Business, and then again, you can move on to doing some of those off-page SEO type of items and doing some of those more technical items as well. But the technical part, you're probably going to have to hire someone for. The rest, you could do hypothetically yourself. It just will take a lot of time and effort. And we know most lawyers and law firms don't have the time to spare. So most likely you'll end up having to hire someone. So kind of in conclusion of this, SEO increases online visibility. It'll help you get more case leads. It is a long-term investment. I know that we didn't really speak too much about this, but we might want to talk a little bit about this now. But SEO is the long-term investment when it comes to digital marketing. So as we mentioned earlier with Google Ads, if you have a budget and you have money to spend, you can start ranking at the top for these keywords if you're willing to pay that price. So you can get up there with a really large budget. If you have, $50,000 a month to spend on Google Ads, go for it. You can get tons of great leads out of that. But with SEO, essentially what you'd be doing instead, it's a long-term investment. You start creating content over time, optimizing the website, and slowly increasing in the rankings. But once you get up on that first page, as we mentioned time and time again, you don't have to pay for those clicks. I'm not saying if you got up there, you would turn off your Google Ads. You should be running them in tandem so that you can get as many clicks and case leads as possible. But SEO is kind of that long game, and it is awesome when you actually do get up there. So that is going to be some of the stuff I wanted to show today. But the only other things I did want to briefly go over was how to contact us. So if you want a free discovery call with us, similar to you guys doing a discovery call with your clients, what we would do is we would take a look at your site. We would walk you through, what issues you have on your website, what things you're doing well, where you can improve. And if you guys are interested, we could quote you out on what it would take to kind of hit your goals. Everyone's goals are a little bit different. So just feel free to click on that link there. You can also go to our website at lawturbo.com. Click on the book appointment button. You can schedule a time that works for you, or you can actually just reach out to me directly at kyle@lawturbo.com. Either way works. But again, thanks everyone for joining. We'll be trying to do these a little bit more often. This is kind of the first one, so we're just kind of getting the hang of doing these things. But if you guys have any questions, just reach out. And hopefully you guys learned a lot from this today. Thank you, and see you guys soon.